certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn, because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn, because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. From my home, cracked and broken asphalt everywhere. I could have ended up just like that broken road, with a dead end in my path. Thank the Lord that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I won't forget the lessons that I don't deserve, because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I love today.
Good morning.
One street over there's a life I could have known. Things aren't always.
Buzzy Poole with the microphones off, and I know you're all going, turn them on, LaVern. I hated to interrupt our Ridgetop Ramblers, and you being a musician, you respect the music. You know, man, they're just good. They're just good. So get right on that microphone for me. There you go. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you know how that microphone works.
Yeah, it's working.
Right on that thing. But the Ramblers, that song just, it fits for what we're doing. And I was telling you, because I've always done the Kilgore Bluegrass Festival. And when I first heard that song, I told them, I said, if I ever start a podcast, that'd be a great theme song.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, then this is, people will see it on the show and they'll go, we saw your podcast, LaVern. It's like, this is real radio. This isn't a podcast. You know how radio people get a little, it's not a podcast. This is real radio. This is real radio. But anyway, welcome, Buzzy Poole, mayor-elect.
Hey, yeah, it's great. It's great.
What?
Thank you for having me here.
In the world. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's so funny. And Ann and I are really good friends, and I talked to her and I said, well, I was going to have Ann in, and her schedule is just crazy. So, we'll come in one last time, kind of talk about it. And we may have her on sometime in December just to kind of reflect on her time as mayor, because she was 8 years.
Absolutely.
And so she said she might be wanting to do that. And then I told her, I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and call Buzzy, because, man, they're swearing you in Tuesday.
Yes.
So, I mean, this happens that quick.
December 3rd.
Man, it's not like the presidential thing. It's not, it didn't wait till next year. It's just, it's now.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I really am.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been wanting this for a while.
Well, I think now was the time.
Okay.
I think now was the time.
Well, now, why? Everybody asks me the same thing. Because, I ran for Congress like a nut, thinking that, I don't know. That was a God thing. You and I have been talking a lot about God. And you just, I prayed very diligently about whether or not I was going to run for that office. And I just felt like that's what God wanted me to do.
Absolutely.
And it led to what I'm doing here. It led to my teaching, everything. It opened all those other doors. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm done with politics. Unless the good Lord just smacks me upside the head and says, you're going to, I have no intention of dipping my toe in the water again. I've got it out of my system.
But you never know what the Lord's going to.
Well, that's just it.
That's it.
But I admire those who do, because people don't realize just me running for office, people wore me out with questions,
Oh, yes.
just constantly. I mean, just always, and you just kind of get worn out from it. And so, why do you want to do this, brother?
Oh, well, I'm a hometown boy.
Right.
Springfield is my home.
Gotcha.
And I care about our town. I care about our citizens. I care about what's going on. And I really felt the calling to run one more time.
Right.
And I just kind of followed the Lord's direction on be here, be there. Of course, everybody tells you what you should do,
Oh yeah.
and you get all kind of advice and things that people say. Well, you've got to do this, you got to do that. But I really kind of followed the path that I thought the Lord was leading me on, and lo and behold, we won.
Yeah.
And it was. I don't know if it's really sunk in yet. But it's going to be. I think the main thing for me will be I'm going to listen. I think people are going to tell me what's on their mind
Oh yes.
and what they're concerned about,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be humble, and I'm going to listen and help in any way I can. And I'm very proud of our city manager Ryan Martin. He's a super guy. Our department heads, they're all very good. We've got a very good thing in Springfield.
Oh yes, we do.
We've got a great economy. I think we're tied for ninth out of 95 counties, and we're doing good. Springfield is in a good position, and I thank Mayor Ann for being part of that. And we'll just keep moving forward. Everybody wants more things, and those things will come in time. And I think everybody's concerns about, well, we need another restaurant. I'm concerned about we need more activity type things. We no longer have a bowling alley.
Yeah.
And, some of the things, and of course, how many people would be bowling if we had one? Because
Right.
as a society, we've changed some. But I'm going to listen, and I'm going to be very accessible. And I love talking. Tell me your story. I want to hear it,
Yeah.
and I'm going to always share my faith with people. I'm always going to share the fact how proud I am of Springfield, no matter where I go. And the Lord has blessed me amazingly in my life. And there's no other way I can, it had to be Him. It had to be Him. I've gone through some things, divorce, cancer, my career. A lot of people think that I'm just a guitar guy, Yeah, Buzzy, he plays music, he's in a band, he's this and that. But for 32 years, I was in the heavy industrial rigging situation. Went to work for a company as just an entry-level guy, and it was exciting. It was fun. It had that danger aspect to it. It was it's a guy thing.
Yeah.
We're
What were you telling me about? What did you do up on with Elvis's car?
Oh yes.
Tell that story. You were telling me that while we were chit chatting.
It was as we were growing our business, we were given opportunities to take on projects, and the key to what we took on, it always had to be something that we felt we could accomplish. We certainly did not want to be the company that dropped Elvis Presley's limousine from 65 feet up in the air.
No.
So one of our estimators came to me and said, we've got this opportunity to put the original plan was Elvis's, it was just completely refurbished. I think it was a 1952 or something Cadillac limousine. And they said instead of putting it on the ground floor where it was the original plan, they wanted it on the top floor. And we had to come up with a way to do that. And so we planned, and we actually had a frame that we set the car on. We weren't allowed to attach to the car to hold it on the frame. So we had to design our own kind of blocking system to hold the car on this large platform, raise it up 65 feet in the air, then attach it to a hole in the wall that they made for us, and then we brought the car in and put it in place. And it was fun. And of course, all the TV stations were there, and we were all very concerned about doing a good job. But that kind of opened the door for us for a lot of other things. And we got involved a lot when the Japanese were coming to the United States. There was a gentleman, Mr. Takeuchi, that we became kind of partner with. he actually came to the United States with Dotson. Remember Dotson?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm old, so I'm
Yeah.
with you, brother.
And Mr. Talk, we called him. He was president of Yamakawa
Okay.
in Portland, our sister city, I'll call it. And when you get to a certain age in the Japanese culture, you retire. It's kind of expected. You know, you've achieved what you're supposed to achieve. You've done a good job, and you're entitled to retire. So when Mr. Talk decided to retire, my boss, Mr. Klein, decided to bring him on with our company as kind of a liaison to help us with Japanese clients.
Oh.
And Mr. Talk was amazing. He taught us the culture of doing business with the Japanese, how you present your business card. All of these things are traditional Japanese customs that if you don't understand those customs, you don't get very far with the Japanese as far as developing business. So Mr. Talk and I spent a lot of time together. The company had its own airplane, and most every week we were flying somewhere to either look at a project. I would go into we'd go to like Toyota, and we'd go in a conference room, and there'd be 20 like Japanese gentlemen there, and they'd all be speaking in Japanese. And then all of a sudden they would stop, and Mr. Takuchi would look at me and say, "Ah, Buzzy, you make presentation now." And I would hand out my brochures,
Yeah.
and we would all speak in English for a little bit, and I'd answer questions. And after, then they'd go back to speaking Japanese, which I had no understanding of whatsoever. But it was a great business move for us
Yeah.
to be able to do those kind of things. And we didn't get major, huge projects with Nissan so much, but we got the second tier manufacturing, the guys that made the seats and the electric motors from the windshield wipers and all those kind of things. And it really helped us develop our business. And we worked with the Japanese in the automotive industry. We worked with the Germans in printing. We worked with the Italians in ceramic and porcelain tile. And so it was, I was exposed to a whole lot of different.
Oh yeah, that's a really cool background.
But it was fun, and we did a huge project up in Ohio, actually St. Paris, Ohio. And we found out that all the Japanese technicians that they sent to America to work on that project loved to hit golf balls. And so I would go to like the secondhand sports store and just get bushel baskets of golf balls. And this big plant was right out in the middle of a cornfield. I mean, it was just in the middle of nowhere, St. Paris, Ohio, just not even a wide spot in the road, but north and east of Dayton and Pickville. You go to Pickville and then go east. And we would hit golf balls every day at lunch. And it was such a nice group of guys to work. I mean, the Japanese take so much pride in their work. And we had an interpreter, and the Japanese always spoke in their native language. So to communicate, we had to go through their interpreter. And but I knew that they could speak and understand English, but they never would speak English. And the last day of the project, when everything was done and the machine was running and everybody was happy, we had a little ceremony, and they presented us with gifts. And we presented them with Jack Daniels. They liked, Jack Daniel, we like Jack Daniels, you know. So anyhow, before we left, I walked over to the interpreter, and we called the head guy, Andy. And I said, "Please tell Andy it was been great to work with him and appreciate all his efforts in making this a successful project." And the interpreter spoke to Andy, and Andy turned and said, "Buzzy, y'all did a great job." I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
You never. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to be careful when you think people don't understand you.
That is
'cause
true.
They might be bilingual.
That is true.
You know,
But it was a great experience for a little country guy from Springfield.
I bet.
That had never been anywhere much. The first time I ever went to Florida, it was playing music.
Yeah.
And we got to go play in Florida, and this was back in the 80s, and we had what we thought was a good band. You know, we were pretty good, but the John Travolta thing had hit. First
disco era.
the disco era and the urban cowboy era.
Not my thing.
John Travolta put a lot of musicians out of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it was fun to go there to play rock music at the time. You had to leave Nashville. Of course,
Right.
everybody said Nashville's the music city.
Yeah, but not for
Yeah. So we had I had a 1971 International truck that I bought in an auction sale that had been property of TVA, and it would do like 55, 6 miles an hour, uphill, downhill, whatever. So it would take us forever to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And I drove that truck all the way to Florida,
Oh my.
and we would leave Springfield, and we'd go to Alabama, we'd go to Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, we'd go down to Meridian, Gulfport, Gulf Shores, and we'd kind of play our way around and then come back. And but it was a good thing for us. I was interested in sound, how other band, what equipment they were using, and I got exposed to seeing different groups and their sound system and their lighting and stuff. And so it was educational, and we learned how to deal with club managers and booking agents, and and I was the den mother. I was the guy that, if somebody didn't pay their their bar tab or something, I was the guy that had to go back and correct all those things and make
you
sure.
were the band leader. So
That's right.
So you had to
And
take them under your wing.
I sure did.
So how many years did you? I mean, you've been playing music since high school.
Oh yeah.
Always.
When I decided football was not for me.
Yeah, we were talking, while we had the mics off, about our high school experiences, and I ended up in radio at 18, so I've been doing this a long time. But sports and stuff wasn't really my thing. I played basketball because I kind of had to, because I'm 6 foot tall, 6'1" in high school, but you know how you shrink over there. But he was saying he decided football was too violent, so we played music instead. So, because my husband played football through college, and I had a son that played through college, and another one that played up through high school, all the way. And yeah, it's a rough sport. It's a rough sport because it is taking its toll on their bodies, already. And
I was a whopping like 120 pounds.
Not really built for football.
Like a pencil,
Yeah.
And I found out pretty quick that I said, this probably isn't going to be good. I'm not going to be successful at this. And of course, everybody wanted to be popular.
Yeah.
And if you're on the football team or if you're on the basketball team and all that kind of stuff. And then the music thing, I said, oh yeah. And there was a record that came out by the Bobby Fuller Four. It was I Fought the Law and the Law Won.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I had never heard a guitar sound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those were little milestones in my musical life. When I heard that record, I thought, my gracious, what a sound. How are those guys doing? And then here comes Jimi Hendrix. Here comes Eddie Van Halen. And it's just
Eddie. Oof.
Oh, my gracious. I saw Van Halen when they first came to Nashville. They came to the War Memorial Auditorium, and they were the opening act. It was Van Halen. Their album had just come out. And of course, everybody was just, all the guitar guys were just crazy about it. Yeah, what is this guy doing and how's he doing? But it was Eddie Van Halen. It was Van Halen. Journey. And the headline band was Montrose, who was the lead singer, was Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
And so here we were, and we were all at the War Memorial watching this concert, and Van Halen was amazing. Journey was amazing, but they're all still very relevant to music, and I guess Ronnie Montrose, I hope he's still alive, but Sammy Hagar is still out there. And it's, but I'm at the point now that we've lost Tom Petty. We've lost Eddie Van Halen. We've lost some of the great musicians, and I think their music's going to live for a long time.
Oh, I do too.
And
I'm trying to gauge your when did you graduate? That's a nice way of asking how old you are. What year did you graduate from high school?
Oh, you're going to 1970.
1970. You're a little older than me then.
Yes.
I graduated in 1980. I thought we
Yeah.
were about the same age.
Well, a lot of people think I'm younger than I actually am.
Yeah,
and
okay.
So people in the radio audience, keep that to yourself, you know. But
well, because when you were talking about War Memorial and some of the concerts, I
yes,
was like, he's older than I thought he was. Then,
absolutely.
because I mean, I grew up. I like I said, I graduated from high school in 1980
Yeah,
and came to Tennessee immediately and have been
yeah.
here ever since.
Tennessee's
And
a great. I
yeah,
love
it is.
Tennessee because we have all the seasons. You
Yes,
know,
yeah.
sometimes in the same day is almost. But it's a.
Some this week you're gonna
It's,
get. It was
yes,
60 yesterday. It's gonna be 40 for a high on Friday. So
absolutely.
we're getting it all this week. So
But it's home. It's
yeah,
home.
yeah, yeah.
I like the beach, but
Mm-hmm.
about 3 days, and I'm ready to put me back in the
Yeah.
hills. Let
See,
me get back to the,
my husband's a northerner. He's from practically Canada, up
yes,
Upper
yes,
Peninsula, Michigan. I'm from Kentucky.
yeah,
So, but I'm like you. I like the seasons. You go up there, and it's just all winter,
yes.
and it's wonderful when you go up there to ski and do all the winter stuff. But then you're like, I'm going home. We'll see y'all later, man.
Well,
But it's so cold.
I did quite a bit of work in Michigan, and especially St. Joe, Benton Harbor, was up there for about a month and a half, and it snowed every day,
Yeah,
every day.
it's hard to
The
manage
lake
it.
effect
Yes, that
snows,
lake effect snow.
and
'Cause you get up around Escanaba and all that, right
yes,
just below Lake Superior. Ooh, man, you get inundated.
and I went up into Upper Peninsula a little
Oh,
bit.
it's beautiful. That's where he's from.
Yes,
Yeah,
beautiful.
he's from Norway,
Beautiful, beautiful.
Norway, Michigan.
But the funny thing for me was if you went into a restaurant or something, people would come over and just want to hear you talk.
Yes,
They
it's
will.
really funny.
Where are you from? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh, I'm from Nashville,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and but it was, I love, I'm a people guy.
Yeah,
I like
so
people,
me too.
and I love to hear people, tell me their story
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's got a story.
Absolutely.
Everybody, and that's one thing about being mayor. I want to hear everybody's story. I want to
Mm-hmm.
hear, I learned in business. I used to tell our sales guys all the time, when you get in front of a customer or a potential thing, listen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start going off about how good we are at this and how good we are at it. Listen to that gentleman because when they get in our situation, when an engineer or a project manager gave us a project,
Mm-hmm.
he was kind of putting his career, in our
Oh,
hands.
of course.
And we did a project one time in Des Moines, Iowa for Bridgestone, and there were 3 identical lines that we had to put in, and it was agricultural type tires that they were making there. We got the first line in. The second line was on its way from Japan to the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and it fell in the ocean. And so,
Oops.
yes,
Yeah.
oops, yes. So that wrecked the whole schedule, and
Yeah.
so they accelerated the third line and got it on the water and got it to America. We went ahead and got that one in, then
Mhm.
finally came back and did, and things like that. It's how it happens in manufacturing.
Mhm.
It's not an exact science sometimes,
Yeah.
and anything that is shipped from the other side of the world here, there's a lot of things that can happen. So it's
Yeah.
but it was so educational to me to be able to work in those situations and be around those types of people because they're successful, they're smart,
Mm-hmm.
they know what they're doing, and when they trust us as a business and as a company, it was a great thing for us, and so we were able to prosper and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, the main owner of the company, my partner, he actually brought me into the business, um, decided he was ready to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided at that time that we would. And we were thinking about our strategy. We had a nice lot, we had 140,000 square foot warehouse in Nashville. And Toby Keith did a video there.
Mm-hmm.
John Rich did a video there. And it was kind of fun to have those kind of things there. But we decided we would sell the property. And the gentleman we sold the property to was going to allow us to stay there 3 years as a tenant
Right.
while we figured out what we were going to do. We were concerned about our guys.
Right.
Yeah,
You got
because
people working for you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they had been tremendously loyal to us. And
Mhm.
the problem about our work was we had to go where the jobs were.
Mm-hmm.
And so we actually had guys that went to Spain one time.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it was taking care of our fellows. So as all of this plan was developing, there was actually a company that I was doing some work with. I met one of their their major guys at an equipment auction, and we got to talking. The company was Nabholz out of Arkansas, and they're a big contractor. And we got to talking, and we were talking about a project possibly that was coming up. And I told him, I said, I don't know for sure if we're going to be around, in 6 months. And when I explained to him what was going on, he said, well, we would love to come to Nashville, but we respected the relationship we had with your
there
company.
you go.
Yes, and didn't want to do that. So as everything worked out, we wound up selling our business to the company in Arkansas. They came to Nashville. They now have two operations in Nashville, an industrial side, and they have a construction group.
Okay.
And everybody that was employed with us got to keep their job.
Oh, that's awesome.
It
Yeah.
was, but the problem for me was I've got 35 guys looking at me every morning, and they know something's going on.
Yeah. And they're stressing. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And they're asking me what's going to happen, what is going to happen. Of course, I really couldn't tell them anything until the deal was
Sure.
final.
Yeah.
But they trusted me enough,
Yeah.
and I appreciated that, and it worked out really well.
Well, good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What a cool story. See, these are all back. That's why I tell everybody when we get you in here for an extended visit, it's because we want to know a little bit about you. It's just like we're sitting on the porch having a chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is your new city mayor, guys.
Yeah.
Buzzy Poole was elected in the last election. He'll be sworn in on December 3rd. I don't live in Springfield, so I don't have a vote in the mix. I live just on that. I mean, I live 2 miles from here, but I live in the county. And we have property down here at the end of Lawrence Lane.
Yes, well, that's.
And so you live in town, I'm guessing.
I do. I live. Just a modest little house.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a close to the ground guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and just me and my dog.
You and your dog.
Yeah,
There you
Rocco.
go. I love it. Well, you mentioned when we were talking off mic and stuff. So I'm just, how long now? Before we move on from what you did, how long have you been retired from that company that you were talking about?
About 5 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. And so then we were talking too about that you play music. Everybody knows you play music. I've heard you a couple of times. You're awesome. But you also lead worship. Where do you lead worship?
At North Springfield Baptist Church.
That's cool. That's
I
cool.
have,
Which one is that?
That's when you're going out of town, headed toward Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's the new church there on the hill on the left.
Okay.
Yes, North Springfield.
Where they shoot the fireworks from?
Oh yes, that
Right?
was our that's our little contribution to
There
the
you go.
city
There you go.
celebration. There,
It's a
yes.
great spot.
It
It's a great
is.
spot to shoot them from. Actually,
It really is.
Yeah, we went and watched this. I'm not big into fireworks. I don't know. I'm not into crowds and all that. I guess I've been in radio so long and had to do crowds.
Yes,
And
yes.
so you just kind of get over it. You're just like, I'm good. I don't need to go do that. And so I'm not a big crowd person anymore. And so, but I went. I was a great fireworks show.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it was
and,
awesome.
And they moved the stage from inside the arena to kind of to the back of the property. And I think that has kind of worked out. It was done by necessity at the first time because it had rained so much.
Right.
The arena was just muddy.
Yeah.
And and it worked out really well though.
Mm-hmm.
And the gentleman that actually helps do the production is a friend of mine from Clarksville, and a lot of times I'll help him.
Sure.
He has a crew of guys because that is a big. They bring in this big. It's like the transformer. It's a big trailer that just keeps opening out and doing all this stuff. Which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts in a huge, nice sound system and lighting. I mean, it is a first class production.
Oh yeah.
And I got so tickled that first year that they moved the stage there, and Megan Maroney was performing. All the little girls that were there, they were just it couldn't have been any more special than Taylor Swift.
Oh, how fun!
They were just singing along every word of her songs, and I thought this is so good.
Yeah.
Because some of these girls might not get to see a concert.
Yeah.
And here it was, free of charge. Come enjoy. And great entertainment, and I hope the city continues that because it's a good. I love to see the city come together. Yeah. Everybody just enjoy, have a good time, then enjoy the fireworks, and it takes most of the rest of the night to get all that stuff torn down and packed up and all the way.
I don't know if you know who Mark Carver is. Does light had a lighting crew. I mean, he did lights for the CMAs for years and
Oh,
years
wow.
and years,
Yeah.
and did the Olympics. I mean, he has a lighting company. But my husband and I, he let us come in and help him hang lights and things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that for the CMAs. We probably did it for, I don't know, 7 years. And we had that experience of it would take you'd work for 2 weeks to get it set, and then you got to get it down in a night
Oh, yes.
because you got to get out of the way of the Predators games.
It's a tremendous
And
amount of work.
and we had so much fun doing that.
Yes.
We've grown beyond that. We've gotten too old for that. Well, Mark is retired too, but his kids doing it. But it's a fun experience being around that because I've always been on this end of radio.
Yes.
And getting to be in that side of it and getting to know the guys who do all that rigging, and it was just a great experience. Great experience. Just seeing how it's done. And
highly
hard
skilled.
workers, man.
Oh, yes.
Work like dogs, man. They're hard workers, especially when you're tearing that thing down because you're in a hurry, and it comes down a whole lot quicker than it goes up.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Whatever time you hit the venue, if it's 6
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning, you work as hard as you can go right up to showtime.
Yep.
And then everybody goes backstage or back somewhere in the building and they take a nap.
Yeah.
Just
So the show's over.
get some rest really
Yeah.
as quick as they can. And
Yeah.
plus, the minute the show is over, it's right back at it. Tear it all down.
Yeah.
Get it ready. Get it all back in the trucks, and away you go. And it's a special people. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the work we did.
They did travel with it.
Absolutely,
A lot of them. Yeah.
absolutely. And
There was a Swedish guy that was leading the team we were working with one time. I wish I could remember his name, but Keith Urban's bit that he was doing at the CMAs. This has been a few years ago. Something went out, and that dude grabbed the wiring that he knew it needed, and he slid under the rigging and changed it in the middle of the show, and had it back on, man. Because he knew the minute something went out, he knew exactly what it was. But he went flying and went sliding under that rig, and I mean, this is all while it's live.
oh yes,
It was hysterical, but it was just so funny. But I mean, just the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, you have no idea. It's so much fun.
And the
But-
technology of sound and lighting
Yeah,
has
yeah,
changed
yeah.
so much. I mean,
I know
it's,
too.
it's just
Ugh.
and it's going to continue to change. We used to travel if we were going somewhere to play a show. I had this big truck and we had all this stuff in there, and now I can put everything in a Chevrolet van.
Mm-hmm.
It's all compact.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy. I can carry everything that we need in by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anybody have to help. It's amazing, and the stuff sounds great.
Yeah.
And it's just how far the technology's advanced.
Well, it's like I look at this board.
Yes.
Okay. And this is what's really kind of funny. This is the time of the year that I always like to watch the turkey drop from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Les Nessman.
I can't find it though. I showed it to my kiddos last year, and I can't get access to it now. They've got it like locked down, and I don't have a hard copy of it.
That's a classic.
Oh, it's a classic. But if you watch that and you look at the radio setup and the
yes.
albums and the cart machines and the board is like this
Yes.
big, and you look at this little control board now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And I talk to my students about it. There's so much I don't know about audio video because I've always been just a mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm trying. I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose, trying to learn all this stuff.
Yes.
And but like you said, there's so much behind sound and video technology. It's just incredible, and it's constantly changing, and it just gets easier and easier. Well, I've told the reason why I love teaching audio video because I tell them that every one of them are broadcasters now because of these things.
Yes.
Every one of them. And some of them will go, well, I'm not, and they don't have any social media. I'm like, well, you're the one. Because I said everybody else is broadcasting their life, and you are a broadcaster if you're on any of these things.
Absolutely.
And you need to learn to do it responsibly. And so it's amazing. But yeah, I knew you and I weren't having trouble talking because I had a feeling. I had a feeling. But anyway, we're talking with Buzzy Poole. He is mayor-elect for Springfield. and they will swear him in at a little swearing in ceremony on Tuesday.
December
And,
3rd.
and that's just the swearing in. That's not the mayor and alderman meeting. That happens on the third Tuesday.
Yes.
And I know because Ryan comes in the very next day and we
yeah.
talk about things. And I know before I do my break, why don't you go through the list of things that Ryan said? Be sure and mention.
Absolutely.
How about that?
Okay. Our annual lighted Christmas parade will be rolling through downtown Springfield on Saturday, December 7th at 5:30, and it's so cool that
It
they
is
do
so
it in
much
the
fun.
dark.
I
Yeah,
know. I
the
love it.
lights are
I love
awesome.
it. Mm-hmm.
This year's theme is going to be a real Tennessee Christmas. After the parade, you can go to J. Travis Price Park for Winter Wonderland. That will be
Yes.
the opening of that, and thousands of people go through that to see the Winter Wonderland lights. The park will open nightly with free admission, another good free event, December 7th, and will run through December 23rd. Hours are 5:30 to 9 o'clock. Saturdays will feature walk-through access where you can park and just walk through and see all the lights, spend all the time you want. Will have visits with Santa and other special activities on Saturday the 7th, and on Saturday, December 2nd, we will enjoy free bounce houses, a petting zoo, and pony rides. Plus, on Saturday, December 14th, there will be a free screening of Dr. Seuss' How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Fun, fun, fun. Now, you said something about December 2nd. They're not open
No,
December
it's
2nd.
the
Well, I think
23rd. It's got to be the
23rd. Okay.
Yes, okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that because it does not open until the 7th. It opens right after, it's opening while the parade's going on because
Yes,
it basically will be open
absolutely.
at 5. So you can leave the parade and go over there. That's what we did last year. And one thing cool, I had Michelle Lane in here yesterday. They have Country Lane Christmas trees. They have a U-Cut farm down in Coopertown, I guess, and they sell Christmas trees, and they're going to be there with Christmas trees.
Awesome.
So you can go on, I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
On the 7th, they'll have Christmas trees for you that you can come and purchase. And they take good care of their Christmas trees. They keep
that's
them
wonderful.
watered after
Yes,
after
yes.
they're cut and all that kind of stuff. Now they bring some in too. They have some that you can go and cut your own tree, but they also have them where they bring them in from different growers and things like that. But she was in yesterday talking about that.
So you can
So-
go to the parade.
Yes,
You can go to the park for Winter Wonderland.
get your tree.
You can get your tree.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I know.
If
And
that
you're
doesn't
gonna-
get your Christmas spirit going,
Yeah.
what is it going to take? That's
exactly.
right.
So, are you going to be participating in the parade?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
I think so.
They'll have you in a car or something.
Yeah,
waving.
that's right.
There's
That-
Buzzy.
Yeah, let me practice that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Where did you, Buzzy? What's your real name? Is that really your name?
Michael.
Michael. Okay.
And for whatever, I think, everybody asks me, where does that name come from? I think my sister gave me that when I was a little guy.
Okay.
Because my mother would call me Mike, my dad called me Mike, but everybody else it was Buzzy. And
funny.
it's just, yeah, it is. It kind of sticks with you.
Well, everybody calls me U-Turn.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I've been U-Turn LaVern since 1984.
Yeah.
You know, and so I have people sometimes. Somebody at church said, "What's your real name?" I said, "It's LaVern." You know,
Yeah.
but everybody at church calls me U-Turn.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. David Evans, our preacher up at Springfield Baptist.
He is great.
I can hear him across the way. Sister U-Turn. He'll yell. I can be in
Yeah.
Kroger or the store and Sister U-Turn. I know exactly who it is.
He is.
But he's a
great
trip.
guy. He is a
But-
great guy.
yeah, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah,
So
but
much
no.
energy. I mean, it just, you just
Yeah,
feel it
yeah,
whenever
he's
you're
fun.
around him. Yeah.
But yeah, you just embrace those nicknames. I'm like,
Yeah.
I put that on my congressional campaign signs.
There you
You know,
go.
we were talking about when you need to run and all that kind of things and the things you need to do. And I've had several people ask me, they're like, I kind of want to do that. And I'm like, well, you better raise some money because that's one thing.
That's true.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Yes.
Maybe,
yes.
is it as expensive for a local election as it is? I
Well,
can't imagine.
It's like
Federal is like insane.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The signs now are so expensive,
Mhm.
and I hopefully have gotten every one of mine picked back up.
Yeah.
Because they do cost quite a bit
They're
of money,
expensive, yeah.
and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah.
And but I ran a kind of a very cost-effective campaign, sort of.
Yeah.
I did a lot of legwork
Yeah.
that didn't cost me a whole lot of money that
Yeah.
way, and tried to be as visible as I could. And it's just
Just talk to people.
Absolutely.
That's just
you
you're
know.
just out there telling me because I remember seeing you at the chili cook-off, and again, I didn't want to encourage you that we could have you on radio, and so I was just like I didn't, and honestly and truthfully, I figured Ann would win.
Well,
I'll be honest with you because you've ran a couple of times,
yeah,
and so how many times have you ran for office?
twice.
Twice.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the third time. yeah.
Okay. So, and I mean, I was kind of surprised, and
I literally had to kind of be talked into it because some friends of mine, came and asked me, said, "Are you going to run?" And I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, gee, guys, I just think I've had enough,
yeah, yeah,
because
you
I
get
was
there.
already on the planning commission,
Yeah, that's one thing Ryan mentioned that you
and
were on the
board of
planning
zoning
commission. So,
appeals
right,
and parks and rec,
right,
and I felt, pretty good about being involved in those things.
right.
But then the more I talked to these fellas, they said, we think you'll do a great job. You're a people person. You treat everybody the same. And I
Yeah.
said, well, they talked me into it, and so I decided if I'm going to do it again, I'm going to dedicate myself to doing the best job I can
Mhm.
as I run for it, and it just worked out this way.
Yeah,
So.
well, congratulations.
But
Congratulations.
I'm so thankful, and it humbles me that people would elect me
Yeah.
and put their trust in me, and I'm
Mhm.
going to do my very best to make sure that we do a good job.
There you go.
The city
So-
deserves it.
Yeah, for sure.
It does.
For
It
sure.
does.
Well, that's cool, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get to know you because I've heard your name forever, and so we just haven't our paths haven't crossed. Well, they
Yeah.
can now because you can come
Yeah.
in here and talk to me anytime you want.
Absolutely.
Like
I
I said,
love it. I
yeah,
love it.
Ryan
Yeah.
comes in like we said that day after the alderman meeting, so you wouldn't want to come in like at that
I
same
don't know
time
if I dress
range.
as good as Ryan. Ryan, he's a sharp dresser.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. I've got to do my break, but it's so interesting the way the government is set up in the city, and that's one thing Ryan and I talk a lot about how every city's different. You get to decide how you're going to set up your government,
Right.
and so it's very different.
Yeah.
And so you've already got an understanding of that because you're already involved in all the
Absolutely.
work that you're
Absolutely.
doing. So
Yes.
it won't be any surprise to you. But it is fascinating, and congratulations. I think you
Thank
and I'll
you.
have a lot of fun talking and
Oh
getting to know
yes.
each other
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
I've enjoyed
But
it. I
yeah,
really have.
same here. Same
Yeah.
here. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
So, well, let me tell you, let's pause for a second. I need to do my sponsor, Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Remember, if you're looking for some help in real estate, cannot beat these guys. They are just awesome. They have been they're like me. They're from Kentucky, but they've made Tennessee their home, Robertson County their home. They've been in Cross Plains for nearly 30 years. So they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky because they do know Kentucky, because like me, that's where they grew up. But here locally, guys, if you want somebody that's just plugged into the community, they're involved in everything that's going on. They had a big food drive this past weekend that they had up in Cross Plains. They just care about the community. I'd mentioned that I have one of the friends from Ukraine that had to leave Ukraine and is living now in Cookeville. She was a realtor in Ukraine, and so Barry is helping plug her in with Exit Realty. There's a Ukraine agent up in Knoxville, so there are chatting. I can't remember. He's helping make those connections for her, so maybe she can have a new career here in America, and that's just the kind of stuff that they do. Exit is a great company in the sense that it's so big and broad that it gives you a lot of options. I know Rebecca, when she was at first a radiologist and went into real estate. She was one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist, so she's been at it a long time. But she said when she was looking at wanting to go into real estate, she wanted a company that had everything she needed as far as the benefits and those kinds of things. And that's what they found with Exit. So they were with the Garden Gate team for years and years. They started Exit Prime Realty earlier this year to bring you a new branch in the Exit tree by combining her agency office and his brokerage office that's located here in downtown. Again, for Exit Prime Realty, if you want to connect with them, it's real easy to do. Go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or robertsoncounty.com. Remember, Barry's got this broad background, 17 years as a media marketing vice president. So he brings that marketing to the table. And if you've got property to sell, it needs to be marketed well. They can take care of all your needs. If you want to be a realtor, they'll help mentor you to that as well, buying or selling, whatever the need is. Here's Rebecca's number, 615-504-7425, 504-7425. When you talk to them, please let them know that you turned Cincha and thanks. To me, 615-594-7736, 615-594-7736, and we will hook you up. Buzzy Poole, we are talking about all the things that you have going on. Very interesting hearing about your background and all of that. As far as, I mean, do you have something that, number one, do you have anything else that Ryan says you need to mention?
I think we're good.
Did you get it covered? We want to make sure that you got that in.
Oh, also, please shop local.
Yes, of course.
Because this helps our local businesses and it helps provide tax revenue to fund our essential services, such as police and fire.
Yeah.
And
are they having a shop small event? They usually have the shop small, and I'll have to reach out to Chamber and see, but they usually have like a shop small weekend and that's encouraging you to, and honestly, I'm not sure that's not even a national thing where they say, shop local and shop small, the small town areas. So that's the thing. And I also too know they are doing a horse and buggy they're
carriage
doing
rides.
Carriage rides.
Yes.
And I'll find that date. But I know that's coming up and that's free. But now you need to remember that if you're going to get on a horse, if you're going to get in the carriage rides, you have to come in and get your ticket. The way they set it up is perfect, but you just have to get there early, get your ticket, and that'll tell you when you're going to need to come back. And I'll find the dates on that. I know Lee Marie had put that up a little bit earlier, so I'll find the dates on that. But we are doing the horse and buggy rides again in downtown. Do you know any more about how soon the roof on the courthouse is going to be done and they'll get the crane out of there?
They worked all weekend on it.
Yeah.
I noticed there, and it's going to look beautiful.
Oh, it is. It's going to be great.
It's going to be beautiful.
It is beautiful. I love our courthouse there, but I mean, I don't know. Are they going to? I wonder if they're going to have all that out of the way before the parade.
I'm hoping.
I would think maybe.
Yes.
But I'm looking through. Lee Marie does our Go show, and she's the one. Okay, here it is. Horse-drawn carriage rides on December 5th, 12th, 19th, 20th, and 21st, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So what you do is you get there at 4 and get in line and get your ticket, and then you can shop. And she's putting this up right now. Oh, she's saying you can register online for carriage rides now.
There you go.
Oh, okay. But there's a waiting. She says all spots filled the first day of registration. But oh, really? So Lee Marie's telling me that all the spots are filled?
That's awesome.
Oh, they're doing it different this year. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you clarified that, Lee Marie. So it looks like she's saying that they're doing it where they put up the carriage rides, all spots are filled, and then there is a waiting list. So there you go. Okay, well, that's good to know because that's different than what they've done in the years past. But we'll get some more details from Lee Marie on that. So very good, very good. And you need to check out Lee Marie. She teaches dance, and she's just, do you know Lee Marie, Steph?
I met her, yes.
She's a hoot. And she teaches dance, and she's just got a little bit of everything going. And so she's a lot of fun to work with. But she's here on Wednesdays for the Go Show from 8 to 9, so I'm sure she'll probably want to have you in too.
That's great.
And talking, she fills in for me when I'm out. I'm going to be out about 7 days in December, so just stuff going on, But
you're busy. You're a busy person.
Yeah,
sure.
Teaching school. We're having Friendsgiving today for the CTE. Because I'm a career and technical education teacher, and so is my husband. Oh, wow. So we had to get up this morning and get food ready to take. So I've been trying to get here earlier, but boy, today I didn't make it. But I got here. What else do we need to talk about, Buzzy? Anything else from the city business that you need to cover?
I think, of course, anybody can go on Facebook to City of Springfield, Tennessee, / their government, and usually everything that's going on as far as activities and special events are usually there. You can find it very easily, and it's going to be an exciting time for Springfield.
Right. Absolutely.
I love Christmas.
It's going to be fun. So and hopefully they'll get all this stuff downtown clean. And I went to Well in the Square. That is Lee Marie's dance studio. I couldn't think of the name. Well, 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 Be Well in the Square. That is her business. And Shop Small is Saturday. Okay. However, many merchants will also be open late until 8 p.m. during the cookie crawl on December 5th. She knows all the things.
There you go.
She knows all the things. So let's see. She's saying, okay, so this Saturday is Shop Small, but many are, so I guess there's some kind of a cookie crawl. I don't know what that is On Thursday, December 5th, there's a cookie crawl. So I guess maybe you go to the shops and get cookies. We'll get details from Lee Marie. So if you've got more details than that, what's a cookie crawl, Lee Marie?
Yeah.
But that's on Thursday. That's next Thursday. That's my husband's birthday. Maybe we'll go cookie crawl for his
There
birthday.
you go. Absolutely.
And, we're talking about there's the new restaurant downtown. Is it Jose's?
Really?
Is it the Mexican restaurant?
is.
Is it Jose? Is that what they call
Jose's
it?
very good. They
Yeah.
have one in Greenbrier,
Oh, really?
and they.
Okay. Is it the same owner?
I would suppose so.
Okay.
But
All right.
It was where the Copper Vault was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Well, very cool. We'll have to check
Yeah.
that out. So, and that's also the tree lighting. Thank you, Lee Marie. I knew she'd come through. So, December 5th is the tree lighting at 6 p.m. By Pappy's, and then they're going to have the cookie crawl, and the merchants are going to be open later. But Shop Small is this weekend.
Awesome.
And all the slots for the carriage rides have been filled. You can get on the waiting list, but they're doing it differently. So don't go down there and try to get in line. They're doing it different this year. So some of the merchants are going to be giving out free cookies and hot chocolate on December 5th for the cookie crawl. So
Great.
there you go.
Great.
She's just she's got all the information. So
I wonder if she could
Anyway.
teach me to dance.
she absolutely can teach you to dance. She absolutely can teach you to dance. She has been trying to teach me. I just had my knees replaced this year because I have really bad, and they just got to where they wouldn't move.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a really good dancer,
There you go.
and but I haven't been able to really dance for years because of my arthritis. And so now I've gotten my groove back, and so after the first of the year, I'm going to get in there and take some lessons with her.
There you go.
And it's good exercise.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, it's
Absolutely.
great exercise.
Absolutely.
But yeah, she's excellent. She's from California, and she did a lot of work in. I mean, she's done a lot of entertainment, like I'd say movies and things like that out in California before she came here. She's got just a long resume of stuff she's done. And so she's got a lot of experience in just a lot of diverse things, but a lot is experience.
Wow.
And is an excellent teacher. Excellent teacher.
I think that's
But,
one reason that I took up guitar, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to dance.
How funny. Yeah, she can get your groove on. You
That's
know.
right.
That's one. It's one thing about playing guitar. I want to pick my guitar. I love to sing, and I sing with the Epiphany Band on Tuesday nights at Celebrate Recovery. They have a band called We Imperfect Few, and they record songs and write songs and all that. And Rob Dupree, his wife April, is the girl that sings with them, but she can't be there on Tuesday night, so they let me play in the sandbox.
There you
Right.
go.
So I'm not part of the band, but I kind of fill in on Tuesday night. But it's so because I've never really. I performed a lot when I was in college, but then I kind of lost the groove for it.
Yeah.
And I would love to pick my guitar back up just so I know what to do with my hands, man.
There you go.
You know, when you're on
Yeah.
stage
Oh,
trying to figure
yeah.
out what you're trying to,
Exactly.
it's hard. That
Exactly.
stage presence is so much easier if you've got an instrument in
That's
your
right.
hands.
That's right. You can kind of hide behind.
Yes,
it.
yes, it's so much easier, especially praise and worship music. Because
Yeah.
I grew up in the Church of Christ. You know, of course, one of the reasons why I'm not more involved in music is because they wouldn't let us girls. You know, and that's another issue for another time. But people who raise their hands and do all that when they're doing praise and worship, that's hard for me because we weren't allowed to do that. And so, but it's natural. It's like when I'm by myself singing, boy, I get my praise on. I don't know why I can't do that when I'm leading and all that. So are you a hand raiser? Well, you're playing guitar, so it's kind of hard.
Here's what has happened with me. I have what I call now my double portion Sundays.
Okay.
My church is from 10:30 to 11:30.
Okay.
I have a very good friend, Pastor Charles Cantrell.
Okay.
He has Bethel Apostolic Church. It's over here on School Street, right off of Central. And Charles and I were talking one day, and he said, "Why don't you come play with our praise group sometime?"
Uh-huh.
And I had such a great time, and their worship is so. I mean, it's just it's energy, and they can praise, they can raise their hands, they can stand up, they can do whatever, and I get really excited, and I've gone every Sunday since that first Sunday.
Oh, I gotta come check this out. When do they meet?
They meet at 11:30 on
Okay.
Sunday, and it goes usually an hour. It might go a little longer. It just all depends on how the Lord is moving that day with them.
Yeah.
But Brother Charles, he's a lot of fun to listen to. His messages are always good, and he kind of called me about it one day, and he said, "Well," he said, "you know, you're elected mayor now. Are we not going to get to see you anymore? I said, Charles, I'll be there Sunday.
That's fun.
And several of them play tambourine,
Yeah.
and it's just
I'd like to check this out.
it's fun. It is fun. And I tell Charles, this is my double portion.
Yeah.
I get my church first, and then I come over there and join them, and they have a good time.
See, our church is at 9 up at Madison, and that's my family. I've been there since 1989.
Yes.
And by the way, we're having our big, if you've had any association with the Madison Church of Christ, we're having our big 90th anniversary celebration Sunday. 90
That's
years.
awesome. That's
90
awesome.
years.
That is awesome.
And they met 90 years ago for the first time in a garage.
Wow.
Right about that, like on December 3rd, I think it is the date. So it's really cool. And there's been so many people that I'm trying to get my kids back because my kids were raised there.
Yeah, right.
And they're scattered all over, And so I told my kids, I said, man, it'd be so cool if y'all could come to church because I said, so many people would love to see y'all.
Absolutely.
And so, but
the Lord would love to see them there too.
Well, they go to church. They're all, I've got one that's wandering in the wilderness, but he knows Jesus is going to get him back.
Absolutely.
He's pulling him. But the rest of them are very involved in their churches, and it's hard for them to step away from their congregations to come because they love their congregations and what they've got going. But I'm like, man, everybody would love to see you at Madison, but we meet at 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will visit other congregations after ours sometimes. But it gets hard because you get busy. You got extracurricular things going on at at church, like dinners and things.
Absolutely.
And so it gets hard. But I mean, there's just so many good things. And, while we're on this topic, guys, this is the time of year so many people get lonely. They can't get plugged in.
It's true.
And if that's the thing, find a church to be a part of.
Yes.
Find a place where you don't even have to, if you're not a person of faith, we don't care. Come on in.
Right.
We'll get we will be Jesus to you, and you don't have to, if you're not a believer, that's okay. We'll still love you. And I just can't encourage people enough. Find a place to plug in. The master's table, they need volunteers still.
Yes.
This is something that if you can come, I know that I had Miss Carolyn in yesterday. If you can come and drive and help deliver, she needs you there about 9:45 for delivery. 9:45. Now they've pretty much got everybody that's plating up on already scheduled, so we don't need them stepping on each other. But they're going to need delivery drivers. They're going to need cleanup crew there in that afternoon. So if you want to do something real meaningful on Thanksgiving, maybe you're alone. Go volunteer.
Absolutely.
Go do something like that. And if you'll get involved in a church, guys, you won't be alone.
Yeah.
You won't be alone. But find a church. We were talking about the ones you're involved with, the ones I'm involved with. There's so many good congregations out here that would love to have you be a part of it. And Miss Carolyn also said if you're just in the mood to cook, they could use more turkeys. They could use more dressing, anything like that. If you want to cook it, if you bring them turkey, cook it, debone it, and bring it tomorrow as the drop off. I think starting after 10 a.m., they're going to start dropping stuff off. No, Wednesday, it said 10 to 3. 10 to 3 is the drop off time for if you're going to bring food, but it has to be cooked and ready, and then they'll wrap it up and put it in the fridge, and then they heat it up then Thursday morning and start plating it and taking it out. About 1,500 meals go out.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
It's
amazing.
awesome.
That is
But we're going to help delivery drive this time, my husband and I are. So, because we're doing our Thanksgiving on Friday.
You're talking about
So.
church a minute ago.
Yeah.
So many people that I've talked to, they always kind of, well, when I get my life a little bit together, when I do this or do that, I'm going to start coming to church.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly the wrong situation.
Amen.
Yeah. Now's the time.
You bet.
Come to church, and then all of a sudden your life is going to start coming together.
Bobby Davis is the preacher at Cookville at Life Church. And now if you've not discovered Bobby Davis, you need to look him up online and look at this man because he was a drug addict and got clean. He's been a preacher now for probably 30 years. Amazing man. But he said he ran into one of his old buddies that he used to run and party with one time after he started preaching. And he's like, hey, man, I hear what's going on for you. And that's great. And you know what? As soon as I get my life straightened up, I'm going to come up there and come to church with you. And he goes, well, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He says, that's like saying when I get well, I'm going to the hospital. And I just love Bobby's reaction because he told him, he says, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
He's just so real, but
so many people think they've got to get to some point in their life, and then they feel like they're worthy enough to come to church. Come because you're not worthy.
Amen.
Come like you are.
Amen.
Just come in the door.
Amen.
Sit down. You'll be welcomed. You'll be loved. Nobody's going to be running up to you. Please join our church. Please do this. We're just going to love on you.
Absolutely.
North Springfield, we really have a great congregation of people. You can come, you can sit down. You wear whatever you feel comfortable
Yes.
in, and come and experience worship with us. And you'll get to see me up there waving my hands at everybody while we sing. And churches are having a difficult time. I think in society now we don't commit. People don't commit to their jobs. They don't commit to their responsibilities sometimes in their family situation, and people don't commit to their churches like what used to be.
Yeah.
And we need to kind of bring that back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. So you can.
My church, it charges my batteries.
Yeah, it does me too.
Yeah,
It does me as well.
If I
And
miss church,
I have to. I feel
I'm
weird.
kind of lost.
Yeah,
for
for
that
sure.
week.
Do y'all have a Wednesday night worship?
We have Wednesday night prayer and Bible study.
Okay.
And we even still have a Sunday evening.
Do
worship.
you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, not many do.
Oh, yes. And it's we have a new pastor now. He's young. He's kind of like David Evans. He's got a lot of fire, and he's a good fella. I taught this young man in Sunday school when he was about 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
He and his brother.
How
And
funny.
exactly. He told me the other day, he said, "Can you imagine that I am now your pastor
Yeah.
and you are now my mayor?" And I said, "Isn't that amazing how the Lord works?"
The Lord just does some
a-
crazy stuff, and he'll go,
absolutely.
"What?
Absolutely.
We're out of time, Buzzy. It's 8:01, man. We gotta go."
We've been talking for an hour.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
I knew we wouldn't have any problem finding something to talk about. After I met you at the Chili Challenge, I thought, oh, he and I are going to have some fun.
Wasn't that a great event?
Oh, it's amazing.
That was awesome.
Sean should be in here. She'll probably be here Wednesday next week as long as her schedule. She usually comes in on first Wednesday. Sean Elmore. And just to kind of stay plugged in with that. But we just, got a lot of great shows coming up for you. I hope you'll be a part of it. We've got a foreign exchange student right now, Ima. She is from Pakistan. She's coming in tomorrow morning from 7 to 7:30. Since we're out of school, she can do that. And she was so funny. She told me, she goes, "I have a script for you." I was like, "Well, honey," I said, she had questions she wanted me to ask her. I was like, "Well," I said, "it's my show." I said, "I'll ask you," but I was just teasing her. I said, "We're just going to talk, sweetheart. It'll be all right." But, and then we'll have Ryan. Ryan will be in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because y'all got the mayor and alderman meeting tonight.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you
for what
Oh, it's my pleasure. Are you kidding me? This is, I get to stay in radio. This is fun. It's good stuff.
You do so much for the community.
Well,
and
thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.
You're a treasure here.
Well, you too, buddy.
Well,
And
we're all going to just,
Buzzy.
we're going to work together.
yes, we are.
And we're going to do everything we can to make this an even better city than what it is
Well,
now.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And thank you, guys. This is your mayor-elect. He will be in another week officially sworn in. And if you see Sweet Ann, give her a big hug and thank her for a job well done. And we will have her in when her schedule frees up a little bit more so she can just kind of, just kind of reflect.
Yeah.
And I know it's 8:03. I gotta sign off. God bless you guys. Thank you for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a fabulous day.